was so long before I filmed this. I'm sorry. But I'm doing it right now, so be happy, please. So, I'm just gonna address something first. I'm gonna always speak in English for my video, even though my mother tongue is French, as you may hear. Because I think that French speakers speak English, but not really English people. The opposite is not true. So, that's why I'm always gonna do my video in English. And I'm in an English world right now, so I think it's more appropriated for me to speak English. So, I'm gonna answer all of your question about being a flight attendant. How is it? Am I in the My Club? Anything you wanna know is gonna be in this video. So, first question, starting really slow. We're gonna start with what's the requirement to be a flight attendant? What's the scholarship? What's the requirement? Etc. etc. So, first and foremost, I think it's fair to say you need to have no criminal record. It's really important because if you want to have access to a restricted zone of airports, you need to have no criminal reports. So otherwise, you cannot be a flight attendant. Sorry. The scholarship, you just need a high school diploma, and that's it. You need to go through the 8-week super intense training that the company, for my company it's 8 weeks because we have 9 aircraft, and other company it's less because they have less aircraft than us. But yeah, basically just go through the whole company training that they offer and complete it with success. Other than that, the hiring process is about a year, which is a lot, I know. It's really a lot, and I know it because I did it, and I was always like, sometimes you have no answer for like 8 weeks. You're like, am I taken? And you want to cry because you don't know. Yeah. So first and foremost, you have to send your resume to an airline company. They're gonna call you back, doing phone interview usually. So they do a phone interview, and after they're gonna assess your either other languages, other requirements. You need to be bilingual, not necessarily French and English, but at least English and something. So if you speak Punjabi in English, that's fine. If you speak Korean in English, that's fine. So any other language than English is considered like adding language. I'm considered BL. So in the airline world, BL is only French and English speakers, which I am. And you have more opportunity if you work for a airline company that is doing domestic in Canada, because the 2 official language of Canada is French and English. So you have to speak both. At least 2 flight attendants from each flights, I think, needs to speak both French and English at all time. Other than that, yeah, so first interview on the phone. After, if they want, they're gonna make you a Skype interview, which I didn't do. There are friends of mine who did the Skype interview as well as the phone interview. And after the phone interview and the Skype interview, usually you have the face-to-face interview, which they ask you a question about customer service, they ask you a question about safety, they ask you a question about like your personality threats, so they can size you better. And after, something that I forgot to say, it's that there's a group interview just after the face-to-face interview. If you go through the face-to-face interview, you have a group interview as well. They see how you communicate with others, and yeah, so there's a group interview just after. So if you are taken, you are doing the medical. So after you're doing the medical, so the medical is made to literally see if you have a good vision, if you have a good hearing. They do drug tests, they do everything to see if you are eligible to be a flight attendant. So, and after, if you are taken, they're gonna call you and send you an email, which is your hiring form, to say that you are hired and that you are gonna be posted there. And if you are taken, they can send you anywhere at the 3 bases where they need you for your language. So if they need a Korean speaker and you live in Montreal, then they're gonna send you to Vancouver if they need you for the flights to go to Korea, which is cool because usually people who have these language have a block earlier than others. Yeah, so you don't choose where you're going. It's either Toronto, Calgary, or Vancouver, because Montreal base is so senior and there's no space. Literally, you have to wait for a transfer, which I am waiting for right now. I don't know yet if I want to go back to Montreal, but that's another story. But for people, usually, um, even if you want to be in Toronto, even if it's your first choice, they need you in Vancouver. You're gonna be posted in Vancouver. If they need, let's say, there's a lot of flight to Mexico City from Toronto, so they often need the Spanish speaker to stay in Toronto because we have only one from Vancouver, one flight to go there every day. So there's not a lot of language requirement for, let's say, Spanish people in Vancouver, but there's a lot in Toronto. So yeah. So before your training, you know where you're gonna be posted. I asked to be in Calgary. I was posted in Vancouver, which I'm really grateful for now. Yeah, because there's nothing really exciting to do in Calgary more than like seeing the Lake Morin once and twice, and that's it. So I'm really happy to be in Vancouver. I have to stop saying so. Please, I feel so bad. So. Next question. Your best and worst customer experience. So my worst, I wouldn't say it's one precisely, but it's kind of a destination that we don't really love to do as a flight attendant. I'm talking like, let's talk for myself. I don't really love to do this route, and it's not because people want to be rude. It's in their culture, but they are rude in our culture. So I don't like this whole flight. Let's be honest, they don't want to be rude. These people, they just are really demanding, and most of the flight attendants don't like this route because of that, because it's really exhausting, and it's not because they want to. For them, the way they talk to us, it's really a sign of, it's a little snobby and it's a little rude, but for them it's like seeing you like over you. So like, you just have to be assertive, but they literally treat you as a servant, and they ask and they ask and they ask, and if you don't tell them like assertively like, sorry, you already had enough or anything, like they're just gonna continue and continue and continue, and that's never ending. So yeah, so that would be my worst customer experience. It's this route, but I'm not gonna tell where, because I don't think people are doing this by all means. They're not rude, they're just culturally learning like this to talk to people that are working in customer service. That's it. Next question. Can we work as a flight attendant and live somewhere else? The answer to this is yes. It's called a commuter. So basically, you are living, let's say, in France, or you are living in Costa Rica, and you are commuting. The only thing that I would suggest is that you have to have the airline that you work for that are doing these destinations, so you can have passes to come back home or for work. So let's say my airline is not going to, I don't know, Dreamland. Well, I cannot come from Dreamland and come back to home if my airline's not doing this destination like as often as I would like to, because it's going to be really expensive. So now if you are with an airline that are doing these routes, well, you can totally be living anywhere in the world. I wouldn't suggest it when you are still a junior, because you might have to when you're on reserve, it's hard, because if you are on reserve, you don't know where you're going and when you are going there, so it's kind of hard to commute. But as soon as you have a block, which I'm gonna explain later on, you can for sure commute, because you know when and where you're gonna go. It would be easier for you, for your schedule, to plan like when you're gonna be back to take your flight the next day to work. Next question. Do you miss your family? Of course, I do miss my family a lot. I miss my sister like so bad. I miss my mom. I miss my dad. I miss everybody around me, my friends. But I'm not really homesick. Like, I needed this. I was not really in a good state of mind when I left. I miss my family, but I'm not homesick. Like, I have plenty of fun here. I never really needed someone to be happy. Like I always have been like this. Say I miss them, but I'm thriving this new life. I'm experiencing the most of it. So yeah. Next question. Is it possible to have a family? Yeah, for sure it's possible to have a family in this work. There's a lot of flight attendants who have like kids and a husband, and it's kind of nice because honestly, yeah, you are gone maybe for 3 days or 2 days straight, or maybe 4 days, but if you do all of your shift together, you can have 2 weeks off at the end of the month. Who have their mom at house 2 weeks a month for themselves? Or even if you're going for 3 days and coming back for 3 days, the 3 days straight that you are here, you are with your children, like literally there, not like there just for lunch and for dinner. No, you're there with them. You can get them at school to go for lunch together. So yeah, it's really possible to have children. Next question. Is there anything you wish people knew about being a flight attendant? I wish people knew that it's not always about I wish people I don't know why I took that voice. So I wish people knew how trained flight attendants are. I wish they give us more credit for our job. I wish people knew we don't only serve coffee in the aircraft. We are way more than this, and I wish people would give us more credit for this. Yeah, so, and all the safety related duty, and yeah, and just like see how like we're 6 for 400 people in the back. Like think what you want, but it's Christmas all the time in the back, you know. Next question. Do you love your job? I freaking love it. Like I'm thriving this life. It's not for everybody, like really not. But guys, I love it. Like I never been that happy in my life, I think. I hated my life so much, and I saw all of my friends getting their diploma from like university, and I felt like I was always turning it around and putting all my efforts in my relationships because I thought it was my only proof of future. And now that I feel more accomplished, I feel more realized. I love my job. I love what it gives to me, the lifestyle. I love that I'm here and tomorrow I could be in New York, like drinking a glass of wine on a rooftop. I love that it's always new adventure and exciting. I'm saying this like if it's the dream job, it's the dream job for me, but there's so many people who wouldn't do this, and there's a lot of people who entered in this just to travel, and they don't really love it right now because you're not really traveling. You're traveling like on your off time, but not on your on time, because there's not enough hour to just like you have to go to sleep so you can manage your jet lag as well and everything. But if I love my job, I'm passionate about it. I love aviation. I love my job. I love that I meet new people every flight. I love the little adventure that I created for myself. So yes, I'm totally happy and I love my job. Next question. So one of the questions is, what is reserve and what is a block? And like I tried to explain it before, a reserve is like, let's say I have a strike of 5 days that I'm on reserve. They can call me anytime to go anywhere. So they just can't call me, let's say 2 days before my reserve is ending, because it's gonna go, let's say, in my days off after. They can't do this. It has to stay in the 5 days there. So let's say I'm going to Australia, then I'm gonna take 3 days in these reserve, and when I'm gonna be back, I'm gonna have 12 hours to rest and still have like a day on reserve. But they can't send me overseas because the next day I'm gonna be off. So they can make me do a turn. They can make like a turn to Edmonton or anything else. So reserve is like you don't know where you're going and when you are going. It's like cruise can call you and they're like, hey, you're gonna go there, and you're like, yeah, and you hang up and you go. That's it. A block is, let's say I know like, oh, the 11th of like November I'm going to San Francisco, and I'm going there for 2 days, and I'm gonna be back the next day at 11 as well. Like I'm going back at 11, so you know where you're going and when you are going there. You don't have to wait, you know where you are going, and yeah, when you are going there. It's always easier to take days off when you're on reserve. You almost have always your days off that you ask for on reserve, because they can just say, oh, you're gonna go there, that's like you're gonna be on reserve 3 days there, and like after you're gonna be off. When you're on a block, it's harder because you have to bid properly, which is like the way to do your schedule. Like, I'm too junior to have a block, but when I'm gonna be older, I'm gonna be like, older in the company, I'm gonna say like, I want to go to Melbourne. Like, I want to go to Melbourne like in this week, and if I'm old enough and senior enough, I might be on this flight. So you bid your shift, let's say. Next question: what is my annual revenue? I don't really want to say this. Like, I'm sorry, but to me, it's like, not that it's personal. I think it's always changing. It depends on your per diem. It depends on the per diem, which is like the breakfast, lunch, and dinner at night. And it depends if you're a service director, which is like and in charge of the flight director, same thing. But yes. So it always change, but for sure there's something that doesn't change. It's the first year is really hard. If you can make it through the first year, apparently it's easier after. But yeah, the first year is definitely hard on the wallet. I have to say this, but in the end, like, for all the experiences, it's worth it. It's all worth it. And in 2 years of like from now, I'm gonna do more money and it's gonna get better. Sure. For sure. Next question. What do I love the most in my job at the end of the day? Something that I really love, it's that I've waited 5 years to do this, and like I said before, I felt like I was going around for so many years before I did this. I really wanted to go for the company that I am in. I really wanted mainline. I wanted the top of the top in Canada, and I am in right now. So, and the end of the day it's the feeling to be accomplished, and also that I realized one of my biggest dream. I'm also really proud in how I react to all situations. The thing that I love the most about my job, it's that I'm not only a flight attendant. It's like I'm a firefighter if I have to. I'm a caregiver. I'm someone who give first aid if necessary. At the end of the day, I'm also a bodyguard of the aircraft, if we can say so. I'm the security guard of the aircraft. So what I love the most about my job, it's that it's multi-talent, multi-function, multi-tasking. I love that it's a little bit of everything. And yeah, because people count on you when you're there on the aircraft, right? Because no one's there unless us. So yeah, that would be like what I love the most about my job at the end of the day. And I really love how people are really nice to you. I love how people, when you land somewhere, they ask you, are you back home? And usually when I'm in Montreal, people are like, are you back home? Because I have that French accent, so they guess that I'm back home. But I'm like, no, I'm just here for 17th hour after I'm going back to Vancouver tomorrow, blah blah blah. And I love this chit chat with like the passengers who are really interested in that lifestyle and to know more about that job. So I like it when they ask as soon as we land, are you back home? Are you staying here for a while? When are you going back to Vancouver? That's really cool. I really love that. Next question. How long do you stay on layover? Maybe I said it before, but it's in between 0 to 72 hours, I guess. The longest is 72, but it's really senior to hold a 72-hour layover. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's the maximum you can do. Next question and last one. Are you in the My Hal Club? Seriously, like, do you think that I would on purpose someone in the toilets and risk my career for this? No. So I'm not in the My Hal Club, and like, if I was in it, it would have been before my career, because now I don't want any like, I don't want to get caught, like, and I don't want to do it as well. And I also had in the same state of mind. Do you have boys in every city? Because it's like the first question everybody asks, and I'm like, I'm gonna start to have one in one city that can stand me, and after we're gonna go through the other ones. We're gonna see. No, for real, I don't have boys everywhere. I don't have the time to meet someone everywhere. Like, I don't want to. I often, what we do is we go out with the flight attendant and we have a nice dinner all together. So yeah, no, I don't have boys everywhere, and I will really try to have one who can stand me in one place first. Thank you.